There comes a point that one has to wonder if it is politics or actual necessity when prosecutors lose confidence in the local law enforcement community. Because of a report done by the Community Advisory Board, Jackson County Prosecutor Gene Baker is calling for changes within the Kansas City Police Department, and changes because of the death of 3 people. So it is not just about the prosecutor, but it is her face that is at the forefront of the push. People have been calling for more say in local law enforcement, so now people need to see how this is handled in Kansas City. People who say they support law enforcement need to understand that law enforcement can be hampered if the community and prosecutors have little confidence in those with the badge. The men and women who are sworn officers of the law are supposed to not just protect and serve, but also represent the community. All of this is being harmed in Kansas City with what came from the report, but it also shows how deficiencies can be fixed. I will admit not to agree with all recommendations, but they are a good start even for other agencies around the nation. Howdy y'all, this is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. What we have here is a channel to communicate. I want you folks to be thinking by the time you leave my videos. Why? Because I'm tired of people talking via what other people tell them to think. So, watch my video and enjoy the chance to think for yourself. And if you look down below, there's a Substack article that I have written that's got all my research in it, so you can do your own research into this. So here via NPR KCUR, which is located in Kansas City, is what Baker had to say about the report. A report from the prosecutor examines officer-involved shootings by the Kansas City Police Department, focusing primarily on the killing of Donnie Sanders, an unarmed black man, in March of 2020. In a report on how police shootings impact the community, Jackson County Prosecutor Gene Peters Baker called for Kansas City Police Officer Blaine Newton to be fired. The 55-page report from the prosecutor's Community Advisory Board, released on Friday, examined several police shootings in the past several years, but concentrated on the killing of 47-year-old Donnie Sanders. The name of the officer who killed Sanders, Blaine Newton, was not named in the report, but was made public through other lawsuits. Newton was not charged by the prosecutor's office for Sanders' death, but the Community Advisory Report says that Newton is a threat to public safety. KCPD should reconsider the employment status of the officer who fatally shot Donnie Sanders to ensure that this officer no longer poses a risk to public safety, the report says.
That family says that when they found out that the prosecutor was not going to be filing any charges against that officer who shot Sanders, it was a gut-wrenching feeling. We know that in March of 2020 was when this incident happened. Police tried stopping Sanders for suspected speeding. According to police, Sanders then failed to use a signal before making a U-turn into an alley. Dashcam video released yesterday shows that incident. The Jackson County prosecutor, Gene Peters Baker, released a statement of her review yesterday. She says it was, quote, concluded that the evidence collected is insufficient to support charges. The family says investigators heard from 2 witnesses who said Donnie Sanders was pointing something at police, but police didn't find a weapon on or near Sanders. He only had his cell phone in his pocket. The officer who shot Sanders last March fired 5 times, hit Sanders 3. Sanders died a day later.
This is, we don't understand at all why Donnie is no longer here. He wasn't doing anything wrong. Basic, traffic violation, I'm gathering. Trying to drive from one place to another, got pulled over, no longer here. I don't know in what world, in what city, what state do you get hit with a citation for driving and lose your life.
Coming up at 6, you'll hear more from Sanders' family and what they say will get them justice. Reporting in Kansas City, I'm Carolina Cruz, KCTV 5 News.
Carolina, thank you.
And here via CNN is talking about the Donnie Sanders shooting. Police initially attempted to stop Sanders because he was suspected of speeding and then failed to use a signal before turning, according to the police account Baker cited in her letter. The prosecutor's office said the KCPD officer suspected Sanders of speeding and attempted to pull Sanders over for various traffic violations on the night of March 12, 2020. After Sanders drove into a dead-end alley, a police dash cam shows the officer exit his vehicle and run around to the driver's side of Sanders' vehicle. The officer can be heard telling dispatchers that Sanders is bailing on foot, though the video does not show what happens next. The officer can be heard on dash cam audio yelling, "Stop," numerous times. The officer yells, "Show me your hands," and yells at Sanders to get on the ground. Sanders can be heard responding to the officer, but it is unclear what he says, perhaps due to the civilian's distance from the officer. Baker says in an interview days after the shooting. The officer told investigators that the civilian was saying things such as, "I'm going to shoot you, I'm going to get you, better kill me, I'm going to kill you," according to Baker. The officer and witnesses to the incident says Sanders held up his hand toward the officer as if he's got a gun, and right before the shooting, the civilian sprinted toward him as he backed up, according to Baker. The officer discharged his weapon 5 times, striking Sanders 3 times, once in the abdomen, hip, and back of the right elbow. No weapon was found on or near Sanders, though he did have a cell phone in his pocket, the prosecutor said. A little more from the KCUR article. The Sanders traffic stop was what was known as pretextual. Police find a reason, often a traffic violation, to stop a driver to investigate some other crime, despite lacking probable cause or even reasonable suspicion that the driver committed a crime, according to the report. Okay, and more from the KCUR article is more of what the report said. The report also discovered a lack of transparency or even intentionally false narrative when KCPD officers used force. One of the cases cited was that of Ryan Stokes, who was shot and killed by police in 2013 in the Power and Light District. The report found Stokes' family was treated more like suspects than victims. The officers who came to the family home said Stokes had a gun, there was a standoff, and he was shot when he refused to disarm. None of that was true. The Stokes family should not have been treated in this manner, the report concluded. The report also said police created a false narrative around the killing of Cameron Lamb by former Kansas City police detective Eric de Balcaneri. By the way, I've got an article. I'll put it at the back of this detailing this a little bit more. He was convicted of killing Lamb, and his conviction was upheld on appeal. Still, the false narrative and negative view of Lamb as a criminal fleeing from police and attempting to shoot police still persist in some pockets of our community, the report said. The Vulcanaire's sentence was commuted by Missouri Governor Mike Parson earlier this month, and he is now home with his family. The report does praise KCPD for requiring body cameras and for enacting a policy of having the Missouri State Highway Patrol investigate police-involved shootings. Between 2014 and February 2024, the report discovered KCPD and the city had paid $26.5 million to settle brutality and use of force claims. The report makes many other recommendations. Among them, limit pretextual car stops, discourage officers from foot pursuits, assign a liaison officer to help families of people shot by police, require officers involved in a shooting to give a statement within 24 hours, as citizens are required to do. Now, I don't know a lot about all these deaths. I don't know much about KCPD. I'm not even sure. I think I've been to KC, but I was going more for the barbecue and only stopped in for just a short while passing through the area. But it does sound like the community has lost all respect for law enforcement. Well, not all respect. They do say that there is some things that they're doing right. But that's the thing. No person of the community should feel this way about law enforcement in their area. I, you can say whatever you want. I know that here in Virginia Beach, I wonder about the cops and how they act sometimes. A lot of times I've seen that they have tried to do their job in a good manner, but they do a lot of things that really make me wonder, and that's probably what's going on in KC. Now, look, this is a place that people should know that they have no problems. No matter where you are in this nation, you should know that law enforcement is someone that you should be able to respect. It doesn't sound like that's the same way in Kansas City. So, I mean, it's up to you to decide how you take this. I'm not sure in the Sanders shooting what exactly is going on, but I know his family thinks that there's some narrative that is not true to how his character was. I really don't know. I don't agree that foot pursuits shouldn't happen because foot pursuits are very necessary, in my opinion. Uh, but I will agree that pretextual car stops, I have a problem with a lot of the traffic stops as the way that they are set up. Most of the time, the only reason to do a car stop is to either do as it's described here, which is to find further crimes, such as civil asset forfeiture, or they're just used as a way to generate revenue for the local community. But that's just my thought processes. Um, Tell me what you think. Honestly, I want to know what you think. If you disagree with me, tell me. I want to know. That's the whole purpose of this channel. So, this has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye. Folks, I just want to say thank you for listening. I want to thank you for taking your time. I want to hear what your comments are about what you think on this topic, because your comments are what's important, not necessarily mine. I don't care if you're Republican, I don't care if you're conservative, I don't care if you're liberal, I don't care if you're Democrat. I want to hear your opinion on these topics. I want to thank you yet again for listening to my video. Like, subscribe, and all that other hoopla. This has been Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.